So, let's talk about the Tibetan Book of the Dead. I mean, just the name itself conjures up all these wild images, doesn't it? You think of ancient secrets, mystical ceremonies for the departed. It's got this whole aura of mystery around it, for a reason. It's easily one of the most famous spiritual books on the planet.
But here's the thought. What if that famous title, the very thing that makes it sound so mysterious, is actually the biggest misconception about it? What if the real point of the book has been totally lost in translation?
See, the title we all know, the Tibetan Book of the Dead, well, that's a Western invention. The actual Tibetan title is something much different. It translates to The Great Liberation by Hearing. Think about that for a second. It's a subtle change, but it's huge. One name implies an ending, a book for the dead. The other suggests a massive opportunity.
So how in the world did we get here? How do we end up with a title that's so famous but also kind of misleading? Well, to figure that out, we've got to go back to the source.
Okay, so take a look at this. This is the title page from the very first complete English translation way back in 1927. The editor at the time came up with the name The Tibetan Book of the Dead because he wanted it to sound like the well-known Egyptian Book of the Dead. It was basically a marketing move, and that one decision completely changed how the West has viewed this work ever since.
And this is the master whose teachings we're actually talking about. This is Padmasambhava, who's also called Guru Rinpoche. He's revered as a second Buddha who brought Buddhism to Tibet all the way back in the 8th century. Now, these teachings are what's known as terma, or treasure texts. The idea is that he concealed them knowing they'd be rediscovered centuries later when the world was ready for them.
So, if it's not really a book for the dead, what is it? And the answer is pretty surprising. It's actually a manual for the living.
You know, the part everyone's heard of, that detailed guide through the after-death state, that's literally just one chapter of a much, much bigger text. Just focusing on that one part is kind of like skipping to the last page of a great novel and thinking you know the whole story. You've completely missed the plot.
The full text is really a complete guide to transforming your whole life. I mean, it covers everything: daily meditation practices, how to deal with your own bad habits, prayers and acts of confession, even how to recognize the signs of approaching death, and techniques for transferring your consciousness. It's a holistic guide to life itself.
And that brings us to the real takeaway. The profound message here isn't about navigating some spooky, weird realm after you die. It's that the absolute best preparation for death is found in how you live your life, by living an aware, examined, and compassionate life, right here, right now. Now, to really get this, we have to unpack a couple of core Buddhist ideas that are absolutely central to this whole text. These are concepts that totally reframe how we think about ourselves and our own consciousness.
Okay, first up is this idea of continuity of consciousness. The basic idea is that there's no permanent, fixed little soul that hops from one body to the next. Instead, your sense of you is more like a river. It's this continuous, ever-changing flow of thoughts, feelings, and moments. It's never the exact same from one second to the next, but the stream itself is never broken.
The second big idea is what's called inner radiance. This is talking about the fundamental nature of your own mind. The text says that underneath all the static, all our busy thoughts and swirling emotions, there is a basic, fundamental state of pure luminous awareness. It's like the baseline reality of consciousness, and it's always there, whether we notice it or not.
All right, so if you keep those two ideas in your head, consciousness as a continuous river and its true nature as pure radiance, then the whole process of dying gets completely reframed. It becomes something else entirely.
In this spiritual tradition, death isn't a failure. It's not the end. In fact, it's seen as the single greatest opportunity you will ever have for spiritual liberation. And you might ask why? Well, it's because it's the one moment where our chattering, conceptual mind naturally and completely dissolves away.
This happens through a really fascinating process of dissolution. The gross elements that make up our physical experience, earth, water, fire, wind, they fall away one by one. And what's left is only the most subtle level of consciousness. This is the exact moment when that inner radiance we were just talking about is finally totally revealed.
And this leads us to what is maybe the most profound insight in the entire text. All those famous visions it describes, the peaceful and wrathful deities, the brilliant lights, they are not external gods or demons coming to judge you. They are the natural, radiant energy of your own mind, simply showing itself as light and form. And recognizing that fact, well, that is the key to liberation.
There's this one really beautiful metaphor that just ties all of this together perfectly. It explains that crucial connection between how we choose to live and what we experience during that final transition.
I absolutely love this quote from the book's modern editor. It's so simple but so powerful. Death develops life's photographs. It just perfectly captures the whole teaching.
So what does that mean? It means that the experiences you have in that state after death are a direct, unfiltered reflection of the mental and emotional habits you built up your entire life. The text calls it facing a mirror of past actions. The journey isn't a test from some outside judge, it's a direct confrontation with yourself.
And this, right here, is the ultimate point of the entire book. It's a message of incredible empowerment. It's saying that by training your mind now, by getting to know its nature, its tendencies, its underlying radiance, you have the power to transform that final experience, to turn it from something filled with fear into a moment of pure freedom.
You know, maybe the best way to wrap this all up is with a simple, beautiful thought from His Holiness the Dalai Lama. He once said, "When we look at life and death from a broader perspective, then dying is just like changing our clothes. It's not some terrifying end to be feared, but just a natural transition in a long, continuous journey."